Welcome back to Catch It, a new perception. I invite you to go back and listen to the beginning of these podcasts. Listen to the first seasons, things you haven't listened to if you're a new listener. I invite you to be able to share it with others if you think that they could benefit or would benefit from some of these episodes. Ask them to go back and listen to other episodes so that they understand the baseline of what these podcasts and these episodes are about. I believe that we have an opportunity to catch a new perception every time we have a conversation with anyone. We have a chance to catch a new perception when we sit quietly to ourselves. Today, thinking about a statement, a term, a mantra, a self-realization. It could be many different things. What I'm thinking about is, I am love. What does that mean? How does it translate moving forward? Is it something that you could use as a mantra? A mantra being something that you repeat quietly to yourself. Maybe someone's derogatory towards you or with you. Say you have a new job and you're working a job where people speak in a very derogatory manner towards you. And they say things, whether someone may use the term stupid or dumb or whatever terminology they use along those lines to demean you because they don't like what you're doing. How do you combat that? Do you, as you walk away, repeat that mantra of the words that they just used? Or could you start saying, I am love? I am love. You say it out loud. You say it quietly out loud. Then you begin to say it to yourself. Then you begin to repeat it to yourself. It's a way that you can create a mantra. And I don't think that there's egotism in it when you say to yourself, I am love. I don't think that there's egotism in it. I'm not saying that there can't be. I'm just saying when I do it as a mantra to combat the negativity in my life, to combat the things that have come into my subconscious that I don't want to be there. And then I begin to state something about myself, about who I am, the way I perceive the world. My perception of the world is I am love. If it starts here with the idea that I am love, then what do I see out there? What is my perception of other people? What is my perception of how they see me when I believe that I am love? Of course, you could use a different word than love. I like that particular word. If you need to do something like this, you can use whatever terminology you want that makes sense, that allows you to be able to resonate with yourself in a way that you need. And when I say, I am love, I say, I am love, I am love. And I sit and repeat this quietly to myself. I will show up different. Will I be able to love myself more than what I did? Will I be able to respect myself more than what I did? Will it help with trauma? I think each one of us need to take that journey for ourselves to find out. I think a lot of people in the world have experienced different type of trauma. It's a very fashionable word in today's society in the sense that it's used often. When I say fashionable, I mean it's common when I use that terminology. And I think it's something that's commonly used presently. And I don't think that often it's necessarily misused. It is we have trauma in different ways. We have trauma. I've had some recent trauma in my life, and it had to do with some surgery that I had internally on my face, and trauma to the point where it caused a lot of headaches, it caused a lot of discomfort, so it was more of a physical trauma, and it wasn't like some other physical trauma I've had in my life by any means, or the type of trauma that someone else may have from some very invasive surgery. I don't think we often realize that that's trauma. If we heal from it like it's trauma, then it doesn't have to be trauma our whole lives. One thing about trauma, speaking with a friend of mine who's like a brother to me, and he helps people with trauma. And we were speaking of it rather mutually to each other and just having some general conversation about trauma. And I like the way he framed this for me. Because when I realized that I am love, the trauma isn't as present. What he had said is that trauma doesn't go away. And he used an example. He said, we have lots of friends that are alcoholics who are in recovery and trying to live different than they once lived, right? I'm like, yeah. And he said, and their alcoholism doesn't go away, right? And I'm like, okay, if they pick up a drink, it returns, and sometimes the ism of it may return without picking up that drink. So yes, I agree. They're alcoholic. They just happen to not drink. And what he said was the same thing is true with trauma. Once you experience trauma, you have that trauma. You will live with it. It doesn't mean we need to react poorly to that trauma. We learn how to deal with it, and we don't necessarily have to react to it. And certain things could happen to bring that trauma back. I thought it was a very valid point. Hence the idea of I am love. I am love. I can take this many different ways when I say it to myself. What it does is it internally quiets the chatter in my head. It internally softens my heart. It internally softens me. The more I repeat that, the more it means to me what it means to me. So in other words, it's just something that needs to resonate. It needs to keep coming. I need to set it into my subconscious. And it's the terminology that makes sense to me. So this is layering a lot of things that we've talked about in recent episodes, whether it's terminology, whether it's the subconscious, the things that we continue to talk about in different episodes here. Is this terminology that makes sense to you? When you quietly say to yourself, I am love. Does it resonate with you? Is it something you want more of? Is it something you can take the time to create more of? I believe this is a mantra that can work for a lot of people. I believe it's something that will benefit people. And I believe that if you use this mantra, you quietly begin to tell yourself, I am love. You will begin to change who you are. Now, I understand that definition of love may mean different things to different people. I get that. Some of us heard those words when we were younger without much meaning behind it. And some of us saw the meaning of it without the terminology. So we have to find out what it means to us. I just don't think it's a derogatory term. For most people, if someone could tell themselves, I am love, they will get to where they need to be. So I'm encouraging you to use this as a mantra whenever you need to, whenever you can. Maybe the more you begin to integrate it as a mantra into your life, the more it will come to you when you need it. If you're like myself or a fair amount of people that I've worked with in whatever capacity I've worked as a mentor, possibly, I have encouraged people to be able to continue to do things, to layer things in, and to become conscious of the terminology they're using. All of these things are very valid with this statement. I believe that we can go forward in a trajectory by using the statement, I am love. I am love. I am love. I am love. What if, as you're repeating that mantra, and all of a sudden it becomes, I am loved. I am loved. I am loved. Let it be whatever it becomes. Because if that's what you need to use that as a mantra. Whether that means I am loved by myself, I am loved by others. If you need to be able to say it however you say it, take the terminology you need to be able to take your trajectory to get to know your higher self, to be more comfortable with yourself, to allow your trauma to be distant from you. However it may work, you can work with it. It's the beauty of this podcast is that you have the opportunity to be able to take any ideas that you hear and disregard. If you think that they won't work for you today, disregard them. Here's the catch with that, is if you haven't tried them, you don't know that they won't work for you. So maybe try them first. Take some time. Work with the ideas and the suggestions that you get in this podcast. Go back and listen to some things that maybe you dismissed. Listen to more episodes from the past. Layer them in. I challenge any of you to start with episode 1, season 1. Start from the beginning and listen to them all the way through. Just take the time. Those first ones are a half an hour long. Take the time to listen to them. After about 15 episodes, they start cutting down into 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Now they're about 15 minutes or just under that, between 13 and 15 minutes, generally speaking. Go back and listen to all 65 episodes up to this point. Listen to them in order and get to where you're at. See if you can implement things that you have not implemented because you didn't think they would work. And the most bizarre part of that thought is if you haven't tried it, you don't know that it won't work. If you tell yourself it won't work and you don't try it, it won't work. If you tell yourself it will work and you try it, chances are you can change in a way you didn't know you could change. I am love. I am love. I am love. I am love. Get quiet with it till it goes silent verbally. Keep repeating it in your mind. Eyes open, eyes shut. Maybe even as you're listening to someone else in conversation who has disdain for something and you don't want to be part of it. There's many ways that you can do it. There's many things that you can change in your life when you take the action that you need to take. Looking forward to next time. Live in harmony with and use the bounty of the land to bring kindness to the world. Dok Shao Ke.